Hi, Lina. How are you today?
Very
Welcome.
well, thank you. So good to see you, Farwah.
Yeah, same. Welcome to Oraan and conversations with Oraan around entrepreneurship.
Lovely, excited to be here.
So, just a quick introduction about you. You're an alumnus of the London School of Economics. You founded Dot and Line with Mahin Adamji in 2015, and have been part of the education sector in Pakistan since you graduated. You first worked at the Acumen and then the Literacy Center before co-founding Dot and Line. You're quite the entrepreneur, focused on bringing affordable world class education to the doorstep of every child. And over the last 6 years, Dot and Line has taught over 4,000 students across 12 countries and 21 cities globally. Wow. You've also helped a network of teachers from across Pakistan become financially empowered from the comfort of their own homes. Today, I hear you're eyeing international expansion after successfully pivoting your operations, around the pandemic that has been the COVID since 2019, and you've received investment from Falcon Network in the UAE. That's pretty impressive, and we're here to talk about this entrepreneur journey today. So, do you want to quickly tell us a little bit? And, of course, first of all, start off with the challenges that you have faced.
So it's been like a really wholesome journey. I feel like every startup goes through different phases, and in the earlier stages, it was more about getting the idea and the product market fit right, making sure we have a product that people want to use and that has a good impact on both the student as well as the teacher end. The challenges I would say have been different at every stage. At the earlier stage, it was kind of even getting used to how to set up a business, how to set up a team, how to make sure that you're executing everything well. These were all things that were very new to us. It's not something that we had been doing previously.
Yeah.
And I feel like that acceptance of that piece that, this is something that I haven't done before, but I'm going to learn along the way. I think you see that echoed in many women's lives as they take on small business ideas or larger ones, or they're just taking on any new phase in their life. So I feel like that was one challenge, and I think that's something that women really need to accept and embrace. That it's okay not to know something. It's okay to take that first
Yeah.
step as you move forward, whether it's a business or whether it's anything new in your life. I feel like more towards the growth stage, and once we started seeing amazing results, both our teachers started earning a great, a great salary and an income from dot and line students, and we started seeing a great student impact on the other end as well. I feel like then the challenges were different. It was like, we need to fundraise, we need to expand the team. How are we looking at things becoming a lot more systemized? Because at the early stage, you're kind of working in a slightly more, like every day is you're doing everything,
Yeah.
and then slowly you want, yourself as well as others in the team to have a little bit more of a focus on an area or a skill that they can develop. Having said that, a startup is always everything. Everyone always at the end of the day or someday has to do something that they're not supposed to do. But we try to structure it a little bit more so that each person has an area that they feel or a skill that they feel that they're really progressing and learning more of every day. So I would say those
building
would,
those
yeah,
building those departments.
making
I want to
sure.
quickly, yeah. So, you've been in this for now 5 to 6 years, and you said that there's been, like you said, there's that journey from really just having nothing and product market fit to once you get the product market fit, how do you then build those teams to execute further? So what I also quickly wanted, because we have so many women starting up their businesses, small businesses. When you're young and when you're starting up, how do you really think about product market fit?
That's a great question. I feel like, and for us, our product market fit has shifted. Like it's not like it's been the same. Okay,
Yeah.
हमने and for like I mean I would say Dot and Line, even though we launched it as a brand in 2015, the actual tech component of it came about in 2018. So we've been in market for 3 years, I would say, with the tech model. But it's been interesting because you need to really see if something isn't working out, you need to pivot to make sure that at least whatever is in your power or in your ability or at least whatever you can do within that span of time, you're trying and experimenting every idea so that you've left no stone unturned. And when you look back, I did everything. I tried to tweak it a little bit, but it didn't happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I suppose you think that there wasn't a product market fit. But as long as you're experimenting enough, and also being comfortable to move away from your sort of exact model maybe that you launched with, I think there needs to be a little bit of comfort with moving out of like that zone that, okay, I've tried something for so long, people are unresponsive to it. And for me, I feel you should at least see some growth, of people being more interested in whatever you're offering for a certain amount of time. And we saw that. But then again, with COVID hitting, there were many challenges in the previous model since it was quite a physical model. Students had to go to teachers' homes. But with COVID, we kind of pivoted and we went completely online. And again, that was sort of
Yeah.
I mean, our teachers were out of their comfort zone because they weren't really comfortable teaching online. So that training had to come in very fast, telling them that, guys, to survive, we need to be very comfortable with technology. And they did that. And I feel there was still a couple of months where everyone was getting used to it, but then the growth that we saw after that was just phenomenal, because we had students from different countries who could now be part of our model. A teacher in Karachi could be teaching a student in Riyadh, and that was all very exciting. So I feel my answer to product market fit would be, you should be very clear about what your offering is, but you should also be open to pivoting and experimenting a lot to know that you have tried everything to see that little bit of acceptance for whatever the offering is. So it's a bit of like clarity, but at the same time being open to like get to market in different ways, because we've tried many approaches. We were very traditional in our marketing, then we went very digital, we've tried bloggers, so we've tried every which way to reach our audience. And I think that's really important, and a commitment to that is really important.
Sounds like you have been really resilient also, I'm an entrepreneur myself, building up Oraan. I can completely understand that there's constant changes that we all have to accept as when we start up a business or when we're running a business. But that's the hardest,
Yeah.
right? Like just one, sustaining yourself throughout it. But that's what I hear from you, that has been such a that has been pivotal in actually you guys being able to get to this stage as well. Does it help that there's two of you, and there's a support system between the two
Yes,
of
so I
you?
feel like absolutely. I feel like, as you said, grit is something that is so important. And if you don't have it, then I feel like the startup world might not be your space. Simply because there's so much uncertainty. And while one might not be used to that uncertainty, the grit to be able to accept it and move with it is something that one would need to develop during their entrepreneurial journey. Along with that, I feel like having a partner is so important. And when I look at myself and Maheen, it's like we're almost wired in a way that, like, if one person is feeling like, let's say, a little, like thinking about things in a sort of a feeling low, or feeling like, this isn't a good day, the other automatically balances that out, and I find that beautiful. I feel
Yeah.
like that's so required that, and it's a hard journey. So on certain days, the one or the other is filling in for that sort of, that gap of like lifting momentum and lifting spirits, which is really what is required for you to be able to stick it out in this kind of a,
Space.
rigorous sort of journey.
So, actually, I'm really glad to talk about this a little bit because growing up, and, you hear a lot, especially in the traditional space when you're building even home businesses or any sort of entrepreneurship, finding a partner is not only tough, but it's not necessarily something you want to do, right? There's a lot of, I think today when we look at tech startups and you're looking at the startup space, founders are more accepted, like co-founders and groups of people building a business. But traditionally, that's not true, So I'm really glad you're talking about the positivity of having somebody to build your business with and having a partner because, and any other thoughts you want to share around that to sort of, build that or talk about that taboo in a way.
So I first and foremost feel that it is a very healthy thing to do. It is something that really, in my mind, I feel like if you it just helps you get, I feel like progress and success doubles when you have someone with you, because you have a certain amount of energy and the other person is adding a certain amount. So that's one piece. It's like the energy that two people bring together. It's the balance that two people bring together to keep spirits high. I also feel like as partners and even as a team, when I look at everybody, when you go a step further, everybody has a value add. Everybody has a specific skill that you may not have. And while Mahin and I have, the same area of expertise, it's really interesting to get those ideas and the difference of opinions, and it just makes for a richer sort of
Absolutely.
like business journey, like, because each decision you want to, like, you want the other person's opinion because you value it. And I feel like finding the right partner can really take you a long way, and then the right team and additional team members as well.
Thanks a lot. So coming back to your journey, you guys are also expanding. How does that
Yeah.
feel? How is that, how is that going from, I mean, you're talking about going from zero to really upward right now. So how does that feel and how is that working out in your journey?
It's been amazing. I feel like with it's been a year since we've gone completely online, and just to see the kind of growth coming from like countries internationally, and them wanting to study from teachers in Pakistan, and now we have teachers in the UAE as well. We expanded our subjects. Teachers are now, like, where we've launched coding recently. It's
Oh,
really been amazing to see that growth, and I think that my biggest reflection has been that we weren't perfectly, like when you want to launch something internationally, you want to be like perfectly ready, and you want to be have all the pieces in place. We actually didn't. We had our teachers who were trained, but we kind of just went with it and said, okay, we'll build technology as we grow. And I think that's been my biggest reflection, and one that I feel was a good thing. Not that we had a choice, it was like we had to push into it because of COVID.
yeah.
But in hindsight, I feel like we are now going to build technology to perfect that sort of journey of students being able to learn online from us. But initially, we just went for it. And I feel like that would be my advice to many other startups, that you don't have to be perfectly ready with like this amazing product. You should always go out there and experiment, push yourself, get a response, get feedback. Even if there are a little bit of complaints, don't get demoralized or demotivated,
Yeah.
okay, it's not working out and we should build everything before going. I feel like don't build before going out there. Build something simpler before you go big. So I think that has been my biggest reflection from the growth that we've had internationally in the last year.
That's really good advice. I can definitely say the same for us as well. You have to keep building and you have to keep reiterating with your users because otherwise you build and you're also become old. Technology is changing so fast.
And it's so important to build technology that's dynamic and like that's moving with the times, because even as a customer, you're not going to remain a stagnant customer. You're going to
Yeah,
constantly change and want something newer because the world is changing so fast. So I think those are some points that one really has to keep in mind when it comes to technology.
absolutely. So I have another one question. Well, two questions, but one is, in a male-dominated society, especially the tech space, how do you feel being a women entrepreneur, and any tips for other people coming into this space?
So I feel like one of the challenges that we've had is that it is a very male dominated space, and it's been a struggle to get a great tech team together. And there have been many times where we've been like, oh my god, like this isn't working out, but I think, and in fact, I was discussing this with my partner as well, that you can make anything happen. Like you just need to be very focused on making it happen. And so I think once you set your mind to it and you start looking and searching, at least for us, it was building a tech team. We realized that there were certain pieces that were missing to be able to build a great tech team. And then we finally kind of filled those in. I feel like even though we are a tech company, it's not like our forte is technology, right? It's more education, especially for both of us as founders. So really finding the right people to be able to lead and to be able to hone that sort of leadership going forward as you build further technology is really important. And I'm a firm believer of if you you don't have to know everything. I think there's a basic sort of spectrum where you should be educated. And as founders, we are very committed to that when it comes to technology as well. But I do feel that there are other people who know and have more knowledge and more who can add far greater value. So I think just accepting and recognizing that is important. And that would be my sort of advice to any women coming into the tech space. I also feel like learning now is very easy. Anyone can learn anything sitting at home.
True.
Mahin and myself have, as I said, spent a lot of time learning about technology. There's lots of courses you can do online. Um, Even when it came to building a tech
Do one
vision,
of you do one of
mentors
you
out
take
there.
on more? Sorry. I do one of you take on more expertise than the other when it comes to learning also?
I wouldn't say so. I think that at least in the last 4 to 5 months, and I feel like it's very important as founders to have a strong vision of your product. And so that means that both of you have to sort of spend time thinking about what that vision is, because it can't just be a vision of reaching students or reaching teachers. That is a vision, but it's more of a growth vision. How do you get there? You need to have technology that's taking you to that high growth number. So the product vision, I feel like both of us have been very committed to learning about how to set a product vision, how to set a work plan, how to like how to add phases when it comes to building that product, and really breaking it down and doing a lot of research behind that before we move forward. So I do feel that unless there's one person, which is also fine, I also feel like both of us are very excited about it, which is why we love sort of doing our bit. Um, but yeah, I do feel like that product piece is really important, and one needs to be very committed to it.
This has all been really good advice. But Oraan is a company where we're helping to build in like just savings, and it's around money and making money simple. So my last question to you would really be around, how what is your journey, or how do you feel about savings, and what would your advice to you or to our audience be about saving?
Okay, great. So I feel like money is important. It's something that adds value to life in many ways. And I think that there's a perspective of how, or a mindset of how you look at money as well, which I was discussing with you earlier as well, Farwa.
Yeah.
I think to have money, you need to believe that you can have it. And I feel like many people sometimes have limiting beliefs towards the amount that they can achieve over a span of time. So I feel that's the first building block that needs to be set. That if I can have more money, the saving comes later. You need to first believe that you can have more money. And once you believe that you can, and if
Ambition.
yeah, I feel like it's really important. You need to believe that you can just have more money. And if there are any limiting beliefs there, that nahi, I can't, that's unachievable, or I don't know if I can get there. I feel like once you set your mind towards believing that you can have a certain amount, then the next step would be to prioritize what you spend on. Because you can't have everything at the same time. And if you think you can, then you're probably spending all your money and you're not really saving. So I feel like prioritizing what you want, seeing where you can cut costs, even as a startup, I feel like we've always kept that in mind. There are different phases, and I feel like you need to see your priorities then as different phases as well, at the individual personal level, but also at the business level. At the early stage, you're cost cutting. You're trying to see that, how can I be a leaner business? Then as you grow more and you've got more product market fit, you're thinking about, okay, well, now I feel like I have room to spend on those extra things that I really wanted to do earlier, but I didn't have a chance to. Again, prioritizing. As you grow, those priorities change as well. So I feel like that's really important. Prioritizing, seeing where you can save based on your goals during each phase, is how I feel, is an achievable and a more wholesome path towards achieving the kind of financial goals that you've set for yourself.
Wow, Lina, that was wonderful advice. You've spoken about some really good stuff, and I'm hoping that my audience takes away from it as well. Thank you once again for being on this Talks with Us, Conversations with Oraan around entrepreneurship.
Thank you so much for having me. This was lovely, Farwa.
Thank you.